The unknown journey will continue. And there you go, my friends. There is the end of the game. So, I guess while the credits are going on, let me go ahead and briefly just do some final thoughts, unless there's going to be a post-credit scene, which most games have one, so we'll see. But yeah, I think that this game is actually pretty good as far as remakes go. One of the issues you always have with a remake is you're trying to figure out, you know, how close to the original do you keep it. You know, you think about like your Crash Bandicoot remake, where it's basically updated graphics, maybe a new engine. So when you have an opportunity to take a story, and instead of just saying, well, let's keep everything the same, but let's update the graphics, let's try to do something a little bit different, something that's familiar to the fans, but things that can be a little bit different for newer players who may not have played the original Final Fantasy VII. For me, who's played the original and now has played the remake, part of me wants to go back and play the original again, just to kind of see, like, okay, you know, what were some of the things that were similar, what were some of the things that were different, especially when you get to the point where you're outside of Shinra. Oh, and there's my son running. So when I see stuff like that, that's something that I think is so fascinating, because you do a lot of cool stuff with the game. But on the other hand, you know, I can understand where people may not like it, because it's like, well, it's not the original game. It's not an updated thing. And just like with someone like a filmmaker, you know, anytime when you take a project and you want to take creative liberties with it, you're always at that risk to be up for criticism. Maybe you can elevate the story a little bit, or sometimes you can screw the story so much that people will curse your name and you can basically lose your career in Hollywood. So the fact that this game has been, you know, I think they did a very fantastic job with what they did with the source material, kind of making it fresh, making it new, doing a lot of great stuff. You know, part of me wanted to see a Cat Sith come in at some point. You know, at least at some point I thought Raymuth was coming in. I don't know why I thought he was going to be in the game. I have no clue. But, you know, really enjoyed the Esper system. Chanley, I think that's his name. I probably butchered it. You know, that was kind of a nice addition to game materia to do certain things. So I've always thought that was great. Voice acting was superb. Sometimes it got cheesy, a lot of times. But for me, the cheesiness wasn't bad, because a lot of the dialogue in the original game was cheesy anyway. So I was glad that they kind of kept some of that in. But as far as if I had to rate this game, would I play it again? Absolutely, especially if there's going to be more to it. I know that I can go back and play on a harder mode, and I think you can take your progress with you, so that will be something I might do in the future. I think that, you know, this is a great starting point for new players who may want to get into the Final Fantasy franchise, and their friends are saying, oh, play Final Fantasy VII. I'd say play this, and then play the original, because I think you might appreciate more of the story better. And especially now, because if I play this, and it's kind of like half the story, I go back, I play the full story of the original Final Fantasy VII, then I'm going to be really excited to see, okay, when this next chapter continues, you know, how much of it, because I'm now going to have a recent recollection of the original because I went back and played it already. But yeah, fantastic game. Absolutely loved it. And I would recommend it. So if you haven't played it yet, play this game.